Trade and Perform Coaching with doing the trade review for Friday, January 10th, 2014. And wanted to take a minute today. I don't get a lot of feedback from the reviews other than telling me that they're good. So I want to keep this one rather simple. I wanted to approach this with first the basics and then kind of tie it in with what I talked about in the market preview, which has been recorded below, right? And how we tied all those things together to do two things. First of all, yes, I didn't. I had one trade yesterday. It was a trade that I don't share with the general public, and it was in Nasdaq. Okay, so my goal was yesterday. First of all, it is with an eye towards how do I make a lot of money and keep it. I find days like yesterday very, very difficult to stay consistent in. Right, from month to month. I don't like getting run over. Right, and let me give you an example of that. The last 10 non-farm payrolls have been positive days. Right. If someone came in thinking, wow, the last 10 non-farm payroll days have been positive, right? And they try to buy anywhere from 1838, right, all the way down to 1830, right? They had to ride all the way down to 1826 and change, okay, in order to get the benefit of having the up day. They all got smoked, okay, to the downside. Now, if you'd done your homework, you would have looked and gone and go, oh, they're all 10 were positive, and you think the easy trade is going to be to the long side. Well, not in the morning it wasn't, okay? And I'm not saying that everyone thinks like that or everyone trades like that or that there's inept traders, right? But there's certainly traders that have less experience or don't know the ins and outs of the market. They get run over in these kinds of markets. I know these markets well, and I know that zones can get overrun very quickly, okay? And I am therefore cautious. Even though I know the zones themselves will usually provide me with good trading opportunities, I become cautious. I have no need. I have no need to expose myself, right, in my capital because I trade in a fashion that's very leveraged. Okay, it doesn't mean that you have to trade that way, but I do. I trade very leveraged, and I want my odds to be very high, and I want to have a very high security rate, meaning an emotional security rate that I'm going to hit my target without having to have any stress involved in my trading day. So that's kind of a little bit of the thinking behind what goes on. Okay, so in the most basic premise, I'll lay it out for how the zones work, right? The zones, first time into the zone from above or below, right? Regardless of rotation, okay? Regardless of rotation, I expect it to reject for anywhere from 2 points or more, okay? And if you'll look, we opened here, we pushed up into the highs from Thursday, right? And we got our 2-point rejection back down. Now, again, this is not my highest odds trades. I don't take it right out of the gate. I didn't take this trade. But the premise of itself being the first rotation to a zone, rejection for 2 points, worked. Okay, so we can check that off. Next, rotation into the white zone, right? First time into the white zone, and actually if you break this down to a 1 minute chart, which I'm not going to do, you'll see that you actually got a 2-point rejection right off the top here. And you also got a 2-point rejection in the back of the zone as well. I certainly had no intention of trading prior to 9:30 a.m. After 9:30 or 10 o'clock, I highlighted that in the market preview. I would be interested in taking a trade. And I said that I'd be interested in taking a trade both in the green zone and there's a zone right below that I'd be interested in taking it in, preferably with tick divergence, right? If you'll look, so let's recount this. First time into the zone here, rejection, 2 points. First time into the zone here gave us 2 points, right? Actually, first and second time gave us, if you took anything from the middle to the back here, gave you a rotation up. But it did achieve the minimum requirement of having a rotation up, right? The white zone is normally a high odds location. The only reservation I had about this was that in the morning, earlier in the morning, right, the white zone was 28.50 to 30.50, and if we'll look quickly at a 24-hour chart on the ES, let me switch that. Okay, we can see that it'll be up here for a second. Okay, and if we suck this on in, okay, you can see that the first time down, and I actually put this out in real time. This is the 28.50 to 30.50 zone I was talking about right here. And you can see and I put this just as the news had come out in the morning. You can see we got it, and we got a huge rotation out all the way back up to the 39s, right? So on days with non-farm payroll, when you have that huge of news, this was all done on good volume. You really have to consider that the white zone was already tested once, in my opinion, right? The other issue with the white zone that I had was because we tested it here, we tested it here, and we tested it here. Once a zone gets tested a bunch, I don't like to trade in it. It's a personal preference. The zone's not worthless per se. I just don't like trading in that zone anymore. It's just something I've developed over the years that I've seen them get more difficult the more times they get tested. So at any rate, moving on, as you can see, also the other issue with non-farm payrolls, right? These are 5-minute bars. Look at the range on this. If you think you can actually trade this with accuracy, okay, this puts you in the top 1% of all traders in the world. Okay, most people cannot trade a single bar that has a 10-point rotation up and down in a 10-minute or two-bar rotation up and down for a total of from 42 all the way down to 28, and trade that accurately, quickly, and make consistently good decisions. You're really pushing your well, you'd have to be a pro, basically. You'd have to be a pro's pro because it takes a lot of work to get to both sides of that trade. And even though I knew that 28.50 to 30.50, right? I know my own charts. I have huge odds of making money on this trade, and I still don't want to trade it. Why? Because, man, it would suck just getting run over in a fast market. And it's not only that, but I don't have to trade the fast market, right? I don't have to be committed in that kind of environment because I can simply wait till Monday morning when it'll be easier. So let's kind of go back. We'll trash this chart here real quick. And let's go back to the 5 minutes, okay? So the market opened. First of all, I had already committed. I wasn't going to trade anything, certainly in the first hour. I took nothing in here, okay? Net, if you'll see, anywhere in the back of the zone, you struggled to get your 2 points. It never quite got up to 32.50, and you fell short if you weren't perfect on this exit right here. If you took it anywhere from the middle to the back, you actually achieved your two points. The zone did its job, right? And then if you'll count, right, the focus is on first time into the zone in the day, got the rotation. Second time, almost got the rotation. Third time, it finally failed, right? And I put out a tweet on Twitter, if you'll look, right here at this 10 a.m. level, right? And I said, I'm now interested in trading. And I was looking for middle to back of this zone. Okay, and I want to talk about that for a second. The reason why I was looking at the middle to back of this zone now is because I knew I had a wonderful stretch, right? Stretched all the way from up here, all the way down, right? I'm trying to get traders to outrun their supply lines. If it's aggressive sellers that are pushing down, I want them to outrun their supply of index, right? They have to have enough index in there to keep pushing it down. They have to want to get rid of it, right? And same thing on the sell side, right? So a couple of things come to mind very, very quickly when I'm looking at this. So I didn't get my fill, number one. So does that piss me off or upset me? No, not at all. As a matter of fact, this makes me feel even better. Let me tell you why. I missed my fill essentially by about a point. I would have been right here in the middle. We got tick divergence, although it was very tiny. We got tick divergence right here. It never looked back. Cool, no problem. But I know that my game plan was positioning me at a point where it was going to make it very difficult for others to take my money away and give me very high odds of making very good money. If I left trailers, as I discussed doing out of these levels in the pre-market, it's right below this video on the blog. You'll see I had the potential, right, of getting 10 points out of this trade, which is just fantastic, right? That's a huge payday and much easier than it was figuring all this out, right, with these whips up and down as to which way it was going to go, guessing, taking quick stops, and using up my emotional capital, my peace and calm and tranquility so that I could make good decisions, right? I had all the time in the world to hunt this trade down, right? And I was sitting right there, and they just didn't give it to me. And that's cool. You know why? I do this for 10 days, and on 8 of those 10, I'm going to get paid, and it's unlikely that I'm going to take a stop on those other 2, right? I simply won't get the fill that I'm looking for. And that's what I'm all about. I'm all about building wealth, and the way you build wealth, it does me no good to get one winner here, and then have 2 quick losers back to back that wiped out this one winner and this one winner. And anyone who's traded for any period of time has had that experience repeatedly, right? And they know how frustrating it is to have a series. I've talked to all kinds of traders, guys who've double the counts only to give the double back and then some, right? I talked to guys who've, well, I had 3 winners in a row. My 4th winner wiped out my 3 winners, right? And it's not just that your profit and loss management are in line, right? But it's your strategy. Where are you taking the time to locate your trades, right? And what kind of speed are you giving yourself credit? Are you giving yourself credit when you're thinking through your trade plan, right? For how fast your abilities actually are to make a good decision. Could you tell here, right, whether you had a 1-point trade or a 10-point trade? Not very many do, right? Including me. There was no way to tell here what kind of trade you had, whether you were short or long. There was no way to tell, right? And I heard no one talking pre-market how the market was going to roll over to the downside. I didn't see one post on it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I didn't see it myself, right? And I didn't call it either. I didn't say, oh, we're rolling to the downside, because I don't care. I let the market set the trades up for me. I don't care which way the trade goes. It's all good for me. Okay, so let's move on. I think I'm doing all right time-wise. I might be wrong about that. So at any rate, a couple more clues for the end of the day, right? So first thing, this was the first hour low right here, right? And you can see we were unable, we tried to push below those lows. We came back up and held above, right? This, guys, is a trap trade, okay? Late sellers got out, okay? Closed back above the first hour's low. There's lots of ways to measure it, but in this case, first hour's lows, right? And also, Globex lows right in here at 28.50, I believe, or 29, excuse me, 29. Once we got it back above Globex lows, these guys were toast. Look at this. This was just a drive up, right, in the afternoon. They didn't get any relief. They couldn't get any rotation, and they finally got squeezed and forced to close at the high of the day. That's a classic trap trade. And in a trap trade, as I've discussed many times before, you'll go from the top of the prior, from the, either if it's trapped from below, you'll go from the bottom of the range to the top of the range. If it's a trap from above, you'll go from the top of the range to the bottom of the range. The other thing that we discussed, by the way, that I would like to point out was on NQ. NQ providing leadership or lack thereof, right? And if we look at our NQ chart, and I'm going to compress this a little bit. Okay, this is the first thing I noticed, and I pointed it out pre-market, and I think it was important. On the run-up pre-market on NQ, right, we were unable to get anywhere close, right, to this structure up here, these highs, right? That was a change in character. Okay, I'm always talking about looking for small clues, changes in characters, right? Okay, we see that. If we look at ES, here we go, ES 1000 tick bar. We'll squeeze this down. ES, just the opposite, right? So ES, here was our previous, let's see, this is this day. Here was our previous high, right? You can see we broke above, fell below. By the way, this turned into a trap trade, right? You can see that multiple times we tried to break back out. What did we do? We traded to the other side of the range, okay? So the range has been somewhere on the lows, right? Right here to right here, okay? If you'll let your mind work, right, and you'll mark on your charts, very simple. We just traded a range. That's all we did yesterday. It was balance, okay? After the first hour, it was overall large day of balance. That's how it's going to look like on the chart, okay? You have to look for the small clues. You have to integrate it into your thinking and keep a balance. So by measuring rotation size, right, and talking about what kind of rotation size I need, what kind of time of day favors my trades based on current activity, right? I do every little notch, right? The zones themselves give me a huge edge. I can, recognizing the bottom and tops ranges, increase that edge, right? Looking at time of day and what generally happens that time of day, that increases my edge, so that's how I'm able to get such high consistent profitability in my trades, right? And do it over and over. Is there more stuff to it? Yeah, sure, there's more stuff to it. Are there other trades out there that I don't talk about? Yeah, there's no doubt. But anyone can do this basic type of trading, right? And the last key to that is you have to train your brain, right, to stay calm and trust yourself. And there's ways to do that. I do it with a spreadsheet. I teach my clients how to trust these stats for themselves using the spreadsheet so that they don't have to trust me and they don't have to trust really anyone else out there, because inherent in following someone else, even if they're a fantastic trader, comes the difficulty of going, well, yeah, this guy's had it right up till now, but what if this is the beginning of his losing streak? And then you start screwing with stops, you start screwing with entries, and the next thing you know, you're losing money again, right? Instead of staying consistent and making money. So the point of all this is to teach someone how to trade for themselves. I'm very confident this year I will help a trader become a millionaire. There's zero doubt in my mind I'm going to accomplish that goal. So anyways, my name is Simon. I'm with Trade and Perform Coaching. Oh, one other thing. I want to show you something really fast here at the end of the day, right? I always talk about how end of days are very difficult. If you'll look the last couple of days, and I'll spread this out really quick. Okay, these drives at the end of the day, fading them, even at good areas, becomes very difficult in the last half hour. I would not want to be the person having to do that. Again, these drives up, right? They have not shown any sign of backing off, right? Last hour starts right here, and look at these drives up. This is a great way to get your ass kicked and donate money to the market all the time. Last hour, big drives, and we've had them repeatedly over day in, day out. There's no need to step in front of those if you haven't gone on the right side of the drive, right? Just because of a trade setup prior to going in last hour, there's no point. Don't get smoked back there. I had a couple people that got smoked yesterday. I personally try not to trade the last hour at all if I can help it. So anyways, my name is Simon. You can reach me at Trade and Perform Coaching. Anybody can learn to trade profitably. The basics of the program, first touch into the zone, looking for a 2-point rotation. We get more complex from there in an effort to increase our edge and have a higher win rate than when it's already afforded just by the zone itself. Anyways, everyone, have a great weekend, and I will see y'all on Monday. We've been in a period of balance here, guys. The market's just doing this, okay? It will break out one way or the other, upside or downside. Have a plan for trading that and not getting smoked, getting on the right direction of that trade so that you make lots of money. Talk to y'all soon. I will see y'all on Monday.